So I get heated sometimes. Sorry if y'all think I'm all bad, but
I do have three simple questions for you. How would you explain three observations that are repeatable from your worldview? One is Foucault's pendulum. Two is retrograde motion. Three is lunar libration. From your worldview, how do you explain those three things?
All right, I'm not sure about lunar vibration. Is that
lunar libration? It's the apparent rocking back and forth and the change in size of the moon during one complete orbit.
And as far as Foucault pendulum is not repeatable in the verse. You can try and say it is, but I guarantee you get up there and do it yourself. And you have to have like 300 feet. I think it was 278 meters. It's not possible.
Because of friction, we have to have a long one. But every major observatory or museum in the world has a Foucault pendulum.
They're ran by motors and magnetics. They're not true.
That's to remove friction. So that the idea is to have zero friction, otherwise that would cause some turning.
You can't say something is moving because of the Earth's rotation when you're moving it yourself. You can't say it's moving because of the Earth's rotation when you have a motor up there turning.
But we observe that the precession of Foucault's pendulum depends on latitude, and that rate will give you what latitude you're at.
You say you observe that. Just like I can tell
you. You can measure it.
You just told me that they're run by motors.
It's not run by measure. The magnet is to prevent friction, so it doesn't.
The magnet is to keep it, so it's supposed to do what it wants to do.
No.
I can show you where I did a study.
No.
A university engineer team tried to build one, they couldn't build it. They had to call the experts that go around all these museums and build them. They had to call them in to get it to work.
They exist around museums around the world.
I'm not doing this, man. I'm true.
Okay, what about retrograde motion?
Retrograde, I don't know. Explain how the geocentrics explain. How the geocentrics explain. How the Tychos explain it.
Because the orbits of the planets from Kepler's laws of motion show that orbits are faster the closer to the sun, and if we're inside the orbit of different planets, they will appear to zigzag back across the sky.
So would you state that there's no difference between the geocentric and the heliocentric models? There's no way to prove one from the other. Would you say that?
Like,
I can show you. Oh boy, you better get the right answer.
There's all kinds of observations that would show the difference.
You cannot prove. That is why the heliocentric model.
But I'm saying, how do you explain retrograde motion? You have no explanation.
I told you, just like the Tycho, or whatever the name, Tycho Brahe. He has the geocentric model where it explains it. I don't know exactly how he goes into it and explains it, but he has this. And besides, like I said, I'm flat Earth. I ain't flat stars. I'm a flat Earth. I want you to prove.
Tycho did not.
So you have no explanations for lunar libration or retrograde motion or Foucault's pendulum from your flat Earth point of view.
Pendulum is nothing. I can tell you Foucault's pendulum is nothing, but you want it is. You just told me they're ran by motors. How is something?
They're not run by motors.
You just admitted.
They have the magnets to prevent the friction.
Just admitted.
So I think that proved my point. You can take over.
I'd like to ask one question, not about something obscure. You're familiar with the fact that in the northern hemisphere, the circulation around the low pressure area is always counterclockwise.
And you're saying
in the southern hemisphere, it's always clockwise. How would you explain that?
Again, there actually is an experiment that somebody does online. They have I want to say a unipole magnet. And what they do is they take this unipole magnet, which is a round unipole magnet, and they drop pepper in there. And you can see the outside going one way and the inside going the other. It has something to do with the magnetics of our thing. It has nothing to do with the Coriolis effect. And the Coriolis effect is proven. They sit there and say, like I said, you got, like I said, only ballistics and missiles. Come on. I mean, why is it just those? Because the average person can't just go out there and measure how fast or measure the distance of a bullet? Yes. If the Coriolis stuff was true, then you could put a helicopter in the air, hover there, and you land somewhere else. Just by going up and down. I mean, but I understand what you're saying. They go there. But again, it is, like I said, there is an experiment. I wish I could go on there and show if I had the internet or whatever, but there's an experiment where they take a magnet and they apply a charge to the magnet, and then they have water over the magnet, and they drop some pepper in there, and you can see it going counterclockwise on the outside and clockwise on the inside. So it's going in two different directions in one thing from the one magnet. So, I mean, there's a lot we don't understand. When I say it's an electrical universe, it is an electrical universe. All this about this atom stuff theory, that's why Tesla rules. Because he knew the truth back then. And we're just now figuring it out. They said he was crazy because, you know, wireless electricity. Oh, that's freaking, he's a madman. Guess what they have now? Wireless electricity. Imagine that. It only took a century and a half for them to release it, but we got it.
I have more of a subjective question. What's on the other side of the ice wall, and do you have pictures of it?
No, that's like asking, you know, what's on the other side of this infinite universe, this ever-expanding universe. We don't know.
So the Earth is expanding? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying you say the heliocentrics say the Earth is the universe is ever expanding.
Forget
But
that.
we don't know.
No.
There's people that think it's an infinite plane. Okay, they think there might be many ponds out there, like many suns.
No, I want to know what you think is on the other side of the ice wall.
What I think, I'm thinking that after a certain while, you probably come to some kind of electric field, some kind of torus field. I think there's a torus field that wraps around us, and that is what they actually, their NASA stuff's coming out to kind of admit it, calling it the Van Allen belts and stuff like that. I mean, they kind of come through, you know, they got to duck and dodge, try and get in there a little bit, but then they call it the Van Allen belts. I'm thinking there's some kind of toroidal field that is around us that will stop us from going any further.
So in other words, there's a hole in the middle of that torus.
That's a good question too. Like everybody keeps talking about the South Pole and flat Earth, and I say I think there's a lot of the North Pole that could answer a lot of questions. I think we need to go to the North Pole and figure it out, because I even looked on there and tried to find stuff about the magnetic North Pole or whatever, and you can find very little videos or anything
I
like
have
it.
one last question for you. What evidence would it take for you to believe in a heliocentric solar system?
Show me water sticking and curving around the Earth. That's all you got to do. You got to prove to me that water is not flat and level. Prove to me that water curves at a certain distance, which the heliocentric model dictates it does.
What proof would you accept that
Well, I mean, it shouldn't be that hard. I should be able to go out there and measure the water curving around the thing. I mean, 1 mile and 8 inches there, I should be able to look at something and say, okay, well, that's 3 miles away, and yes, that's 6 feet tall, and I can only see 6 feet. It should be that simple. But it's not. You can see that 6 feet all the way from friggin' 15, 20 miles away.
But the ship that Dave showed shows
That's one. They cherry pick some pictures that look like the dude moved. I mean, I'm telling you, there's thousands. Go online, there's thousands. That was the number one thing that flat earthers have debunked game one, was the things that we could see far. Now we have the P900, P1000 cameras. Man, we can zoom 50, 60, 70. People are putting IR on their P1000s, going up the airplane and filming stuff 1,000 miles away.
Why go up in an airplane if you can do it from the ground?
Well, we can't get 1,000 miles away. You got to be up in the distance to be able to look 1,000 miles. But they're seeing stuff 100 miles, 200 miles. I think the world photography is 437 miles or something like that of a mountain range that they got, which doesn't fit in heliocentric math. Once again, the curvature math doesn't work. It doesn't work.
One thing that struck me was that you talked a lot about, there's times when you talk about, you believe scientists, you believe NASA. For example, you showed the clip about the Van Allen belt. And you said, well, this shows that, how could they have done this without the protective stuff? So I'm trying to figure out why is it sometimes you believe the scientists, sometimes you believe NASA and you quote them, and then other times you say...
No, I was just trying to show there that they have no evidence for the moon landing. That's why I quoted them and said that. I don't never use NASA for anything. I figured they faked the moon landing, burned me once, shame on you, burn me twice, not a damn chance. So, I mean... If you look at the evidence and you don't come back, you have severe cognitive dissonance. They cheated the moon landing. I mean, your average person knows they faked the moon landing. You can't believe anything they say.
Well, yeah, but not necessarily. I mean, to take your pick. I mean, it seems like, when it's convenient for you, you're happy.
Can you please give me an example? I know that I quoted them. That was the moon landing wrong.
Oh, sure. You talk about the Mississippi model, for example.
The what?
The Mississippi model. Remember the big model, the water
That wasn't
flow?
NASA. That was the University of Louisiana.
That's what I'm talking about. The difference. I'm not necessarily NASA talking about how it seems
It's
like when it's convenient.
I said NASA though. That's science. Yes, I will show science. I believe in science.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Is it
real science?
How do you pick and choose which scientists you pay attention to and you cite, and which ones you don't believe?
What do you mean? I didn't do it. If it's observable and repeatable, yes, theoretical science. Then call it theoretical science. Don't call it fact. You can't call theoretical science fact.
No, but I'm asking you, how do you decide which scientist you're going
I
to
just told you, if it's empirical based and you can observe and repeat it, then that is very science. But I didn't cherry pick or quote anything. I sit there and showed you the model because I thought that was a very good instance of where they're taking $19 million and building a model for erosion, but yet they don't put curvature into it.
Right, I wasn't accusing you of cherry picking. I was just asking how you decide which scientist you're going to quote.
I like all science. The only reason why I quoted all of them scientists there is because they're actually telling you that the Earth, there's no proof that the Earth moves. And the Michelson-Morley experiment actually proved the Earth to be stationary, just like every interferometer experiment afterwards proved.
Okay.
Okay, I've got a real quick demo on retrograde motion. So this is an old program I wrote in the 80s, and that shows a solar system a little bit like our Earth. You see these, the blue and the gold planets, that's like the moon going around the Earth. Now this is from the sun's base point of view. The green planet is kind of like Mars. It's outside the orbit of Earth. So now I'm going to hit P for the Ptolemy, and all this is going to do is change reference frames. Sure, we can have a reference frame where the Earth is the center and everything else is moving. That's a valid thing. That's what Einstein was talking about. But right here, essential gravity, it explains why those planets are orbiting that big sun. Now this is what you've got to explain. There's the retrograde, watch that. Oh, see the Earth in the center? Is the Earth with the moon going around.
Why do I need to explain that? If you just said that, it doesn't matter if it's the Earth or the sun in the center. You just said it don't matter.
You see how the green planet just went backwards? That's called retrograde motion. Let's do it one more time. So the sun's going around the Earth, and the planets are going around the sun, but the moon's going around the Earth. And look at that green one as it comes around.
Yeah, you know what that could be like?
Retrograde motion.
You know what that literally was? You ever hear semantics? Did I show you the video of semantics and how sound waves?
There it is. Bam. Retrograde.
You know what that looks like? You ever get one of those, what do they call them? The picture things?
Yeah.
Spirographs you use?
What is your theory that explains why the planets go in spirographs?
I don't know, Dave. Why do I have to have a theory? I guess what I can't say I don't know. Can we not say we don't know? Do we have to have an answer for everything? Is that why theory is so important?
Yeah, that's part of science.
No, it's not. You pass off back this theory.
I've got a question. So, in flat Earth theory, how do they account for Saturn and the rings very clearly going around the object?
No, there's not any. You can see the rings, but it looks like a light. If you look at it in your telescope or anybody else's telescope, you see a light. You don't see colors.
I grew up with an 8-inch telescope. You can take a look at Saturn.
Yeah, you can see the ring, but it looks like a light. It don't look like it. Don't.
Hold on. There's something which we'll say looks like a sphere. There's rings going around it, and at certain points, it's very obvious that the sun is shining on Saturn. Saturn is casting a shadow onto the rings, which appear to be going around the planet. What's the explanation?
I don't know. Once again, you're telling me to look at the moon. How about try this experiment? How about, because you're talking about the sun, how about take this experiment? Take a thermometer, okay? Go out at night. Take one thermometer and put it in the moonlight. Take another thermometer and put it out. Make sure it's covered from the moonlight. Which one do you think is going to be hotter? It's going to be the one in the shade. Imagine that. The moon actually cools things. Do the experiment. That is observable, repeatable experiment you can do yourself. It's telling you we don't know shit about what the moon and sun is. We really don't know.
Well, so in flat Earth theory, are there planets? Are they
Do it.
round?
Do an experiment. You can do it in your spare time.
Are the planets in flat Earth theory, are they flat?
What's that?
Is Uranus flat? Is Jupiter flat?
Is Jupiter flat?
No, but they look like lights in the sky. They don't look like something we can land on.
What are they?
I don't know. They called them wandering stars back in the day. Back in the ancients there. You're asking me something like what are they?
I can see a shadow. I've seen it. Like,
I don't know. What does it matter if they're round?
Well, I'm just asking if you think they're round or not.
That's another thing too. It's like, well, they're like, oh, well, all the stars in the sky are round, whatever, so that means the Earth's round. No. Well, you play on a pool table, don't you? All the pool balls are round, right? Does that make the table a round table? No, it don't. That's just stupid logic, right there.
He's just asking you, is Venus round?
No, I know. I don't know.
Is Jupiter round?
I think they're all white. We don't know because you can't. You can't get a 3D look at it. I can't fly up there and turn around and it's like the moon. I can hint that the moon's round, but do I know the moon's round a sphere? No, because we don't see the other side of it.
It has a shadow. Is that from the sun or?
What's that?
So the shadow that Saturn generates, where's
the shadow being generated at?
Very good.
That's my question to you, for flat earth theory. Where's the shadow? The shadow clearly falls upon the rings. I've seen it a bajillion times.
I have no clue. That's asking like, I mean,
But the heliocentric model has a really good
that's like
explanation.
asking me what an atom looks like inside of it. You know, we don't know. We can theorize, but theory is not
But
going
the
to do it.
heliocentric model has a really good explanation. So why shouldn't I get it?
Well, they should be. They've been working on it for a long time.
Yeah.
And then they destroyed and hid all the evidence of the flat, motionless Earth with it. Because there was every single civilization before the one last 500 years, a flat, motionless plane. They circled the squares. Every single one of them. And for some reason, all that knowledge is lost. It's present. It's gone. It's history. Check out the Mayans. They got 2 books from the Mayans now, and they created this awesome architecture and everything believing in a flat. They said the turtles. The reason why I think it was on top of the back turtle's back is because if you look at a turtle's the back of its shell, you'll see the cymatics in it. And
So
the
just to be clear though, that you don't know, is what you're saying.
yeah, I don't know. I don't have a problem saying I know. A lot of people that think they're science and stuff, they have a problem saying we don't know something or it's a theory.
Well,
We don't have a problem
If
with
your
that.
theory doesn't have an answer, then you don't know.
All right, let me ask you one question. So going back to the bubbles, remember the bubbles that you said? Yeah, space it. So it's your understanding that bubbles zigzag in water?
No, but what they can't do is zigzag in a vacuum.
No, but
What?
to be very clear. So you were saying that the
It
fact.
appears that they were
Let me finish, please. You were saying that the fact that the bubbles moved and zigzagged showed that it must have been done in water. Now, I've seen bubbles in water. Let me finish, please. I've seen bubbles.
I'm just trying to correct you.
Yeah. So I've seen bubbles, and the bubbles don't zigzag the way. So, in your experience, do bubbles zigzag in water?
They
Or do they go in a
could.
straight
I
line?
tell you what they don't do. They don't zigzag in a vacuum. They will not zigzag. They can't zigzag in a vacuum.
I'll repeat the question. So, in your
It
experience,
don't matter. They weren't in a vacuum of space. That's what matters. That's what I'm trying to show you.
So, what?
It don't matter if they were in a pool.
No. I'm just saying. In your experience, if you're in
No,
a
I
pool,
see-
if you're in
I
a,
haven't seen any. It had to be a pool. It has to be something to give that look.
but air bubbles don't zigzag like you showed on the video. They don't. I mean, far in the bathtub, you'll see.
He showed a video of them in the pool and it did exactly that. He showed them in the pool where
No,
he went like
the-
this, and the guy moved back and the bubble went back to him. He showed it in the pool. There was one where he showed that was in the space, and then he showed another one in the pool with the bubble experiencing the same exact motion.
I don't think
You
so.
couldn't hear the video. Yes, he did. I can show it.
Yeah, hey guys, our lunch is up.
Security is here, we have to leave.
B, how do you and Dave know each other?
Facebook. Yeah. I think.
And I wanted to be
That was
clear,
most
a better
exciting.
picture than